Welcome to Machuka Nyarieko TV talk show, the House of Ideas. Hoping that you are fine. Welcome to our today's episode. And today we will focus on the struggle between Gachagua and Fred Okengo Matiangi, who has got really power. I also take this opportunity to thank you for your continued support, because it is through your support that this channel is able to thrive each day. So thank you for that, and for those who are new, subscribe so that we can be able to reach more people. In this channel we explain political events, political phenomenon, and we especially try to explain why politicians behave in a particular manner. Back to our discussions. But as you get in, like, comment, and share. Most importantly, subscribe. Today, I'll want to have a conversation on the former CS Fred Okengo Matiangi and the former deputy president Gachagua, who really has a political power, who has got the much needed political power to push William Samoei Ruto to the next corner come 2027. To understand this, we have to give a brief history of each one of them. To begin with, Gachagua has been a civil servant for quite some time during the Moi regime, the Kibaki regime, and he has even been how do we call it? He has also been a personal assistant to the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. In totality, Gachagua is a man who has been in the political right, because once you are an administrator in the especially during during the Moi government, you are able to see how political happenings went by, and in most cases politicians, provincial administrators were the ones used by politicians to implement some of the main political agendas. They were the ones even who were used by President or the former president then to even disrupt important issues that were carried out by the opposition, like political rallies. In addition to that, Gachagua was the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya for close, if not 2 years, during the William Samoei Ruto's regime before he was impeached. So we can say he's a man with a wealth of experience. Okay, Okach watching live from Utawara, Embakasi East. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you. Just for us, and if possible you can contribute to our topic, which is on Gachagua versus Fred Okengo Matiangi. And we have briefly given the story of Gachagua, how he has grown into the top. And there was some times back, probably, when the Honorable Gachagua had lost focus. This is the time before the Limuru 3. If you went around the mountain before the Limuru 3, no one wanted to hear about the Honorable Gachagua. For one simple reason, the people of the mountain had felt betrayed. And actually, that's why they were having the Rimuru 3. On realizing that, Rigathi Gachagua had to pull back and reason to the ground. Rigathi Gachagua had to pretend that, I am not sure whether it was pretending, but it was totally pretending that he needed some time to rest. He went to the mountain for some prayers. That was because of the pressure that was on the ground. No one wanted to listen to Rigathi Gachagua's government and him. So when he realized that there is fire moving around the mountain, Rigathi Gachagua had to retreat. And this is the time when Rigathi Gachagua immediately started giving statements that were contradictory to the president. And actually, there was a time when UDA wanted to change the constitution so that they could add more debut party leaders so as to reduce the influence of Rigathi Gachagua. But this man was so clever, and even he had to influence the party primaries of this UDA all over the Republic of Kenya. And that's why some of the people like Farouk Kipet, who is the huntsman of President William Ruto, had to bar him from holding public rallies from within the perceived William Ruto's backyard, that is Rift Valley. Remember, he was refused to go to Bomet and many more other places, as he has explained before. So when this man, Rigathi Gachagua, realized that he is going nowhere, he had to pull back and start to listen to the ground. Of course, some of the reasons as to why the mountain is so rebellious is simply because of the unfulfilled UDA or Kenya Kwanza promises. Not only at the mountain, but much of the UDA or the Kenya Kwanza perceived areas were so bitter, and I think they are also so bitter. You know, when people are bitter and you try to distribute resources in an impartial manner, you make them more bitter. So what, for example, Kithure Kindiki is doing now is making more enemies within the UDA than it was before. Next came the Gen Z revolution, and to me, Rigathi Gachagua saved the president so much. How did he save him? He had to appeal to the young people, calling them my sons and my children. Let's go slow. So he had to appeal to the young people, and this reduced the magnitude of demonstrations, more especially within the mountain. And remember, the mountain is very close to Nairobi. So if this team continued as it was before, Nairobi could have been probably a no-go zone. But his utterances that my children go slow, they stopped. Probably that is why they associate him as one of the funders of this Gen Z revolution. So since then, there were plans and he was impeached. What about this Matiangi? Matiangi was a lecturer in both Egerton University and Nairobi University. After that, he came to politics, or he was brought to politics by Simeon Nyachae, who did influence. Simeon Nyachae influenced, that is the late Simeon Nyachae influenced Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to appoint him as a minister or a CS. And that is why, that's how Fred Okengo Matiangi found himself in politics. Before, Fred Okengo Matiangi had also worked very close with Simeon Nyachae as his personal assistant, and it has been said that Fred Okengo Matiangi used to write as a young person, used to write around parliament, and he was so much involved in the 2010 constitution. Fred Okengo Matiangi has also been credited with education in the Republic of Kenya. Therefore, if you compare the two, Fred Okengo Matiangi and Rigathi Gachagua, they both have their strengths and probably weaknesses, but I look at their strengths and what they have in common. The two individuals have one thing in common: fighting liquor. Okengo Matiangi is remembered. I hear probably in Kisii there was a time they were saying that he was seen wearing a shirt to some of the areas where Chang'aa industry, or where there is the basis of Chang'aa industry in Kisii, and he was able to reach that place very private and no one could realize. So it's a man who was totally about that because of the future generations. This also applies to Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua, if he has got his philosophy, his thinking, his strong things of liquor, drug abuse, and that's where his philosophy is centered before anything else, meaning that these individuals focus much on the future, because the youth are the future of the Republic of Kenya, and if you destroy them, then there is no Kenya. Now, another question comes in. Now the two are both in the contest. Who has more power? Now that I've given the background of each of them, probably what I can add on Fred Okengo Matiangi is when he was the CS for education, there was much reforms in the ministry. Examinations could be released in time. Examination cheating was reduced to probably -2, among others. He was able to move Kenya from analog to digital during the time of him as a CS for information, and he did also so much. So between the two, who holds power, and how can one know that each of them has got significant power? And remember, power can be shared. For instance, the man that I'm talking about, Rigathi Gachagua or Okengo Matiangi, they can both have followings in Kisii or in the mountain. So there is no specific place that either Matiangi comes from Kisii that Gachagua cannot have influence there. He can. At the same time, you cannot say that Matiangi comes from Kisii and they cannot have influence around the mountain. They can both have, because they are Kenyans and the people have evaluated them. These are the people who have been tested by Kenyans, and the Kenyans know who they exactly are. So, who wields, who has real political power among the two? The truth be said, if you go to the mountain today, Gachagua has got significant political influence. It's the mountain. And this goes beyond the mountain. Today, the political power that Gachagua wields does not only go to the mountain, but to several parts of the Republic of Kenya, including those perceived to be areas where William Samoei Ruto comes from. So, he is well connected. He says he listens to the ground, and what brings him closer to the people is because wherever he says something, it comes to happen. When he says there is a force within the police that is abducting people, when he says that there is a force within the government or the police force that is abducting people, it comes to pass. Because it is established, or it is found that from what is happening, there is that possibility that what Gachagua is saying is true. That is the real power. That is political power that I'm talking about. You resonate so well with the people. So the mountain, according to Okaj Kevin from Embakasi East, Okaj says that the mountain is already sealed. The mountain is already sealed. And this man has got that prowess. When you call him an ethnic person, he has that ability of appealing to others. He'll come and call them cousins in rows. I'm sure when you will be going to Rift Valley, you will be calling them in rows and urge them to marry as much as possible from the mountain, so that their relationship can be on a higher for you. Now when we come to this Fred Okengo Matiang'i, Okengo Matiang'i, as I said in another video, is a product of the Gen Z. So if you want to know who Okengo Matiang'i is, look at the young people whom he dealt with. Even if you accuse Fred Okengo Matiang'i probably of the other issues, Fred Okengo Matiang'i worked so well with these young people, especially this team. These young people, when he was the Minister for Education, went on demonstrations. There was that disease of demonstrations, rampage, destruction of properties, of school properties all over the Republic of Kenya, probably because of the leakage. That's why maybe the young people have realized that the person who can be able to fix the issue of unemployment in the Republic of Kenya is Fred Okengo Matiang'i. The person who can be able to fix the corruption that exists in Kenya is Fred Okengo Matiang'i, because he did this with the National Examination Council, whereby leakages were left and right. Very few people could go and sit without knowing what is in the examination. So Fred Okengo Matiang'i had to fix that. This is the fixer that the young people need, because the young people feel that the problem of Kenyans is simply corruption. The problem of Kenyans is simply corruption, and the person to fix corruption must have courage. Just imagine a government where Fred Okengo Matiang'i is the president, Rigathi Gachagua is the prime minister, and Rigathi Gachagua has been ordered to clear corruption and is in charge of the cabinet secretaries, because the cabinet CS in most cases is the person who ensures that there is smooth running of the various government ministries. What will Rigathi Gachagua do? What will Rigathi Gachagua do? It means that corruption will definitely come to an end, whereby Martha Karua is the Attorney General. Whereby Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka probably goes back to his work which he did while he was young in politics, that's being the Speaker of the National Assembly. Whereby Natembeya is the Minister for Internal Security. And whereby Kijana Wamalwa is the Minister probably for Public Relations. What will happen? The problem of Kenyans is corruption. Corruption first, corruption second, and corruption third. Such that even our own members of parliament, and we have been told this by the likes of Mike Songo when they were in parliament, and Waitito, they said there is a room back there, the toilets, where they are given something so that they can vote otherwise against. You know, when you are being given something, it means you are voting against the public. Collins Waweru, Mount Kenya casualties are the MPs and senators who impeached Gachagua. Collins Waweru believes that the casualties from Mount Kenya are those individuals who impeached the former or the immediate, can we still call him the immediate deputy president? So according to Collins Waweru, these individuals, the former senators, the former MPs are in trouble for the act of impeaching one Rigathi Gachagua. Remember, before then, Rigathi Gachagua had instructed them that probably by December, I think 2024, if you will not work with the people, yours is over. This could have been one of the reasons why they were so frustrated and they went ahead to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. But most importantly, we know some of them, they accept tokens. And it is unfortunate that most members from the mountain do not strain in campaigning like elsewhere, because the mountain has got the habit of voting for political parties, so they don't strain. If you go to areas like Kisii, it will be completely difficult for one to win because you are in a given political party. But for this time around, I'm very sure that those who will align in Fred Okengo Matiangi's political party will all be elected. It is a free advice to people like Omingo Magara, people like Manson Nyamweya, who have their political parties among others. They will lose terribly with their political parties, because this time around they also have got to listen to the ground. The ground says that it is Matiangi, and the Matiangi is the party, and the party will be Matiangi. So Manson Nyamweya, Omingo Magara, and those many others who have got political parties, you can use them, but be sure that none of them, none of your followers is likely to be elected because of the wave. Okay, when I go back to Rigathi Gachagua, there is that political power that Gachagua has, in which he is able to mobilize people. Rigathi Gachagua is able to protect himself, like the other day, yesterday, when he went to Meru, where he is even now, when goons are sent. Rigathi Gachagua, the former DO, is able to put them away from his public function. This, one can say, is informed by the fact that Rigathi Gachagua is a former DO, and as I said earlier, during the time of Moi, they were given the responsibilities to protect dignitaries. So, if, for example, you are planning that you want to disrupt Rigathi Gachagua's political rallies, then you must be ready to face it head on. And it appears that his security is highly trained, because they just move the opponents away without harming them. Unlike those who are sent to disrupt his political rallies, whose major aim is to hurt those who are in those political or public rallies. So he has got that ability of mobilizing people together and ensuring that they move together as a team. See what he did to the Kambas at the coast. Cousins, high cousins, and all of those who were frustrated simply got happy because of the simple political tricks. We are watching to see how he's going to call the people of Northeastern. Today or yesterday was at parts of Meru, and they did request them, brothers, hi sisters, now give me time to go and meet my cousins. So cousins, probably cousins, he may be referring to people from all over the Republic of Kenya. And you cannot kill Rigathi Gachagua because he comes from Mount Kenya. Let's go back to Fred Okengo Matiangi. Fred Okengo Matiangi is boasting of having young people in the entire republic, not in Kisii where he comes from, but in the entire republic, because young people, and even some, we call them the Arivas and the Gen Zs, those, this group of people normally feel so good when you talk about Matiangi. So he has that political power. When I went some a few weeks, if not months, to the parts of Northeastern, I still found that this Matiangi is as well among the young people. They feel that he's a man who can bring security within the northern parts of the Republic of Kenya, who can silence cattle rustling. If he did, their argument is, if he did this while he was the minister for security, what about when he has the powers and the responsibilities? They say that they were saying, some men, they were saying that he tries as much as possible to restrain, to direct, or having direct confrontations with the members of the public. Therefore, Fred Okengo Matiangi wields power from the young people. Of course, from Kisii, I said earlier, there is no reverse. That they can, may they be the gooses in the Gusii land, the gooses in the Kenyan diaspora, and gooses in the overseas diaspora. And this was shown by most of the gooses when he was meeting them in various halls in the United States of America, whereby they put him helicopters, if not one or two. They promised how they will fund his campaigns weekly. So if it is about money, he will be able to wrestle with the rest. And of course, Fred Okengo Matiangi, through his mouthpiece, Kibagendi, Member of Parliament, South, Kitutu South, did say that the moment Fred Okengo Matiangi comes back to Kenya, he is prepared to go to more than 1,300 wards. I'm not talking of constituencies, but I'm talking of wards. And this was confirmed by the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka during his Sekuru homecoming, whereby he said, or he noted that Fred Okengo Matiangi will come and they will move to all parts of the Republic of Kenya as time comes. And of course, today Fred Okengo Matiangi is back, is silent, maybe thinking on what they should do. But what I know is back because of the Gen Z holiday, which is on 25th June, and him believing that his constituency largely comes or highly comes from the youth, he has nothing to do apart from giving pie to the World Bank and come back to Kenya and celebrate with the young people come on 25th this month. So we are waiting to see whether Fred Okengo Matiangi will march together with the young people to the National Assembly on that day. I wish to give my special thanks to all of you who have supported this program. I encourage, if you are not a subscriber, to subscribe, like this video please, share, give you a comment, and I also acknowledge Okaj Kevin, Corins and Corins Waweru for their contributions that have made this program to be more real. Thank you and have a pleasant evening to all of you as we look for another day. Masonga kiega na hakora na ruro rabantu amanyire go shoot go 15 irimo kiega na hakora